Today is Wednesday, the 15th of July 2026, and it is a pleasant morning and a warm welcome to your program, Good Morning, Sierra Leone, the program that always starts your day. I am Shakus Wire.
And I'm Dennis Fizz. I will begin with a quote of the day, and it's from Chinese philosopher Confucius. And it says, he who learns but does not think is lost. He who thinks but does not learn is in great danger. Is that not so?
Definitely, he who thinks but does not learn is in great danger. Yes, I want to believe so because you listen to learn. And when you learn, you have to be pragmatic. It means you have to put into practice. So this quotation is well in place.
Very well. And of course, on that note, we will leave it for you as still viewers. I mean, to ponder upon it as you go through your lovely day. And of course, coming up in the program this morning in the menu, Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Alpha CC, this continues criminal proceedings against former President and his government. And we explore an article by the Member of Parliament on 1% community development agreement in the Mines and Minerals Development Act. These stories plus more are going to be dealt with in the next 55 minutes of the program. Stay with us. The program is Good Morning, Sierra Leone.
We are back, and the program you are still watching is Good Morning, Sierra Leone, live from a broadcasting house in Englandville, in Freetown. But then, just be informed that we shall be joining our outside broadcasting at the Freetown International Conference Center, Bintumani. Well, it is known for Bintumani, but the actual name for that particular conference center is the Freetown International Conference Center, which is the Bintumani Conference Center. We shall be joining our outside broadcasting as we continue to bring you coverage on the ongoing ECOWAS Midterm Summit in Sierra Leone, where today, as you know, there are different layers at different levels. So today there's going to be another very important meeting at the Freetown International Conference Center.
Especially on peace and security.
On peace and security, which I think is peace and security is something that we need urgently, and we need it bad as a region or as a sub-region, because all of us know what is happening in Sahel, and if that continues or spreads, then it will be a catastrophe for West Africa. So that will be thoroughly discussed in that particular session. But now we move forward, and here now we bring in the story of the day. And the story of the day, can you make a guess? Fraser?
Certainly, of course, social media and of course even the mainstream media are watched with, of course, sentiments and reactions. This particular story has received mixed reactions from citizens across Sierra Leone, and of course, a lot of people are really commenting, a lot of reactions. I would say it's a mixed one.
Yes, indeed, it is. It has come with mixed feelings. But however, that is the story, and that is how it is. The reason we have somebody here who is coming to discuss. The conversation continues, because this story is a very big story.
Definitely.
Well, now, the Office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice of Sierra Leone has officially discontinued all criminal proceedings against former President Ernest Bai Koroma. In a public notice issued on Tuesday, the office said that the proceedings are no longer before the court in this country. Ernest Koroma was charged with treason and misprision of treason following investigations into an alleged failed coup attempt. He was granted bail on medical grounds, allowing him to travel overseas for specialized treatment while the case remained pending for the courts, according to the notice. As a legal consequence of the discontinuance, Cromer's bail has come to an end with immediate effect. The office added. The office also confirmed that the former president is free to return to Sierra Leone after completing his medical treatment or at any time of his choosing. Well, in the studios to talk more on this, we have Augustin Bami Afoni, and he is from the Ministry of Information and Civic Education from the Strategic Communications Unit. Welcome to the program, Bami.
Good morning, Sheku, and happy to be here.
And also, we shall be talking to a representative from the ABC. Well, in the person of, well, we are expecting Mikhail, but now we have your own Ansari, who is here in the studios. Welcome to the program, and good morning.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here, and I think I'm now to the line of a two-way street approach.
Certainly.
Yes, we are going to catch two birds with with one hand, or with just a stone. But then now, let me start with you, Bami, from the Ministry of Information and Civic Education, from the Strategic Communications Unit. Now, tell us, a lot of debates going on right now across the country. No, not even across the country. This is like international news. But no less a person than the former president of this country who has been in exile for over 2 years now. All charges, claiming that charges against him have been dropped. In the first place, what is the spirit? What is the spirit behind this decision by the government at this particular point in time?
Oh, thank you very much. I am a philosopher myself. I want to borrow the words of a philosopher, an Indian philosopher, that was likened to Niccolo Machiavelli. Spinoza, he said that a quiet country where no war exists, but its leaders and its people are always in court, is not a peaceful country. Nelson knew that. After he spent years in prison, when he came back, he never prosecuted the ones who sent him to prison. President Julius Maada Bio also knows that. Yesterday, he had to act to his Attorney General and the Minister of Justice to enjoy the privilege of not prosecuting, to put aside, to drop all cases against the former President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma, on account of the alleged treason that was before the court. This, to me and many more people, is done in the spirit of statesmanship, it's done in the spirit of national cohesion, it's done in the spirit of social and national cohesion. He wants to deepen democracy in Africa. They tells us, Sierra Leoneans, that our democracy is maturing. They tells us that our state, Sierra Leone, can handle justice and forgiveness together. This tells us that we can do better if we are living in a very peaceful atmosphere as a country. So for me, it comes from a leadership of strength, where decisions, as rightly put by you, of such is made and have mixed reaction from people. You have to imagine also that the President, Dr. Julius Maada Bio, is the chairman of the Authority of States, Heads of State and Government at the ECOWAS. One of his major priority areas in the 1 year period as chairman is to restore constitutional rule and also to deepen democracy. We have seen his moves in Guinea, restoring democratic rule from the military regime. We've seen where he's gone to Benin and other places, the field cup there. So there are a lot of interventions.
Now we know that this is a decision that has come from the government of Sierra Leone, because the Attorney General and Minister of Justice is the principal legal advisor to the government of Sierra Leone.
You're right.
Now, does discontinuation mean acquittal? Because the legal argument right now is that there is a possibility of, government again. The government decides to continue they discontinued. Now, okay, guys, now, okay, we discontinued, but now we are back. We are going to continue with these proceedings. So the question is, does discontinuation mean acquittal?
My colleague here is a student of law. He will tell you that we deal with the fact of the matter before us. We don't presume. The fact of the matter before us is that the Attorney General and the Minister of Justice has exercised his privilege given to him at this moment to discontinue the matter and drop all charges against the former president, Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma, before court. We don't presume about what will happen next, and that is not the case. The fact of the substance of the matter is what is before us in black and white, the letter of the law, is that the case is in discontinuance before the court of law. And that is what I want the general public to pay attention to.
You all said, not prosecute, which means no case submission. So does this mean that the government no longer has a case against the former president?
I think that is simple to understand. When there is no case before the law means there is no case. I don't want us to presume. When you presume the law, you are also committing an offense. What is before us is a subject that there is a discontinuance of a case that was once before the court against the former president, Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma. And yesterday, in the breaking news by the Minister of Information and Civic Education, we learned that all those charges were immediately dropped, and therefore the former president is allowed to come to Leone at any given time of his choice. I think that is a huge win for Sierra Leone. That is what I want us to really pursue. But in addition to that, I want to talk to the general public.
No, but just before you do that, the reason why we are belaboring the point as to whether charges have been dropped and there is no case to be answered by the former president is the fact that almost 24 hours since your ministry broke the news yesterday, we've seen a lot of public debates. Depending on who you talk to, every part of society, there is a kind of a debate ongoing. There is one senior member of the APC who put forward a case. I'm frustrated. Identifying him as the chairman for the Western Area State. He put out an article suggesting that this all emanated from the courts. And if there should be any settlement, it's the court of law that all this should have been amended. Don't you think that is also, a legal argument that's as a binding in this matter?
You as a student of the law, I'll encourage you to have tweeted also to that texter to let him know that in the court of law we have the Attorney General that represents government. That he has the authority given to him by Section 45 in the Criminal Procedure Act that he can withdraw the case on behalf of government without pursuing it. So even because it is easy, as long as the verdict has not been reached. So if people compare the verdict that has been passed on other people on the same matter to that of the verdict to that of the former president's case, it's a completely different scenario. The nulli prosequi means, hence, verdict has not been reached. The Attorney General reserves the powers given to him by Section 45 of the same Criminal Procedure Act of 2024 to withdraw. But in the case of or cases of other people, there has been verdicts. So you cannot change that. So in this situation, the former president, Dr. Ernest Bai Koroma, was on medical grounds on bail. Means the case was still before the courts. So if it has pleased, for many reasons, including national cohesion, the Attorney General to say, for the interest of peace, for the interest of national development, for us to see ourselves as brothers and sisters, I'm going to take the kit out.
I mean, was this a political arrangement, or like you are saying, it's happening in the interest of national cohesion? Because we saw a lot of political.
If it would have been a political arrangement, the outcome would have been go correct to court and make sure the verdict is passed. Because when it becomes a political agreement, becomes a partisan issue. If you ask a lot of the SLPP supporters now, some will say we are not in favor of the decision made by government. So that is not a political arrangement. Because it's not a political arrangement, it is a statesmanhood arrangement. It is a decision for national cohesion. The very reason you see divergent views from the general public.
Now,
the mixed feelings from the general public. Otherwise, it would have been applauded by everybody. But this is a position where the president and governments sat to say, our president, for example, is the chairman of ECOWAS. Sierra Leone is the chairman of ECOWAS. We are deepening democracies across countries, but there are still some few things in our own country that we need to settle. That's where the leadership of strength comes in. Even when you feel the pain, you feel the push from other people to say, no, continue that. That is what we want. That helps us politically. Continue moving that with the court. And he will sit to say, no, Dr. Ernest Bakroma is my brother. He is man of huge value. He is well known throughout Sierra Leone and beyond.
Still in
bringing him Sierra Leone continues to develop our democracy. He is a man that contributes to national development. The case is just one aspect of the things that have put us aside. I will take out the case from the court. We will come talk as brothers and have a united Sierra Leone. That is just the focus.
But that is the spirit. Now, but also now, in his acceptance or appreciation statement, you know, that is from the former president, Ernest Bakroma. You know, if you carefully look at and logically look at, you know, the way the funds went, you know, in that particular case.
I read it myself.
Is that, you know, he singled out the president of Nigeria. You know, in fact, he said he's indebted. You know, and he also commended ECOWAS and his colleagues, some of his colleagues who are still presidents or heads of state in their various countries, for the role they play, you know, in ensuring that the country has reached to this particular decision. So does this mean, because that is also a conspiracy theory, that this particular decision was a decision taken out of, diplomatic pressure? I mean, some other people from influence, some other places, you know, pressurized this government to take this particular decision. What do you have to say to that?
I have to clearly and unequivocally state it that ECOWAS stands for transparency, no secrecy in ECOWAS. ECOWAS values domestic laws. ECOWAS respects the sovereignty of individual states. Excuse me. By no means ECOWAS will circumvent the law and pressure political leaders into making domestic decisions. No chance for that. We have to be very careful the way we craft the questions themselves, because the questions we craft create issues. If other countries across ECOWAS start to think about how ECOWAS twist, so to speak, leaders of individual nations to be going against their domestic constitutions, it will create serious agony into the institutions, organizations that we are so proud of. So I want to tell you that ECOWAS is transparent. ECOWAS does not interfere into the local sovereignties. ECOWAS is not the one that pile any pressure. There was no pressure.
All right, Mary.
This I want to explain. The thank you to ECOWAS comes from very many fronts. We have to understand that the former Vice President, Ernest Bakroma, I'm just so sorry.
Yes.
Former President Dr. Ernest Bakroma lived in Nigeria for a couple of years. That in itself is a place to say thank you. right, to Tinubu, the president of Nigeria. That in itself is enough to say thank you. But also to say thank you to ECOWAS, I will tell you, when he wanted to leave Sierra Leone on medical grounds, ECOWAS told him. ECOWAS wrote a letter to the government of Sierra Leone. So it's also grounds to say thank you.
Now, with regards to the medical reasons given for the bail, in fact, there is also another conspiracy theory that suggests that it was just a kind of a game. That he had no medical issues. That it was just a game also that was facilitated by ECOWAS for him to go, with the pretense that he was leaving or he was going out of the country on medical grounds.
So how can I ascertain that? There are evidences before the court that he was going on medical grounds and therefore he needed a bail. But I think we have crossed past that.
What I'm saying, I'm talking about that's why I said that is the conspiracy theory. I'm not also suggesting it is fact, but that is what was said.
Maybe my brother wanted to come in. I want to emphasize this. I know there are mixed feelings across the political divide, but this is the time to lower the rhetorics. This is the time to see us as Sierra Leoneans. This is not the time where the party A will say, we have won it. This is not where party B will say provocational words. This is not where we incite on the matter. This is where we see ourselves as brothers and sisters.
Thank you very
for
much.
the sake of Sierra Leone.
Thank you very much, Agustin Bamian, to introduce to us in the program. He is a member of the Strategic Communication team from the Ministry of Information and Civic Education. We have in the studio Honorable Bernard Mansai. He is rather here to talk on a thought-provoking article he wrote on the 1% mining agreement in the Mines and Minerals Act. But of course, he has also consented to give fair comments on the issue. So on that note, we usher you in, Honorable Bernard Mansai. Welcome to the program. We also want to hear your thoughts. How are you as a party be receiving this news?
For us as a party, it's a welcoming news.
Again, just before you make your assertion, I must state that Honorable Bernard Mansai is the parliamentary spokesperson of the APC. So, continue.
Thank you. We must commend the government and for such a decision they've taken. I think I wanted to rely with Bami that for the moment our discussion should center around national cohesion, should center around moving forward as a country. I followed social media yesterday when people were saying, why have they just dropped the charges for President Obama? What about the others? Comparatively, it's a really a low-thinking faculty as a Sierra Leonean to compare, President Nkrumah to that of those other people who have. No, I'm coming. You see, I wrote an article that talks about the nation scenes. It talks about the nation scenes, but national cohesion is above all. I'll release it. You and I works within this SLBC, and you may associate yourself with others in the circumstance, the pictures we take, the meetings we attended together. But after you've left SLBC, and one of your friends whom you share time with together, you saw him in a particular situation, they can associate those people with you. But I think President Bio behind the scenes, he has held several meetings with stakeholders, the parliamentary leadership, paramount chiefs, the SLPP, religious leaders, that he wanted to ensure that people who were alleged to be involved in the November coup are prosecuted. But at the same time, having looked at the steps taken by ECOWAS, other players, if he realized that, his colleague, because when he was president, he gave him the platform to operate as an opposition leader who wanted to take governance. So such a decision is a very good decision for the country. And when people are talking about acquitting and that of dropping charges, there are two different things. When you acquit somebody, when the person has gone through all the legal process and for final judgment, but here dropping a case means that you do not want that person to face legal charges any longer. You don't want to see him in court. And the assumption or the anticipation that one day again he may be called to ensure that they file another case against him again. We should not expect that as a country. I don't even dream of it. I was part of the meeting in State House as one of the leaders in Parliament, and having listened to the President when he was giving his speech, you will understand that leaders are compounded with so many issues that I'm saying, external pressures, people who do not want him to do this, and it's a two-way street approach. In the APC, people might be there that do not want to see him back. In the SLPP, people are there that do not want to see him back. So this is where the President said, all of us should look at uniting this country. And I want to tell you that I can assure the entire public that the President is sincere in his decision, is willing, and for whatever you may say about the accolades given to ECOWAS and President Tinubu, Bami has just said that, at the inception of the case, they tried to manage the exit of President Nkrumah out of Sierra Leone. You have to understand that this is a man that has ruled for 10 or 11 years. He has a strong base. He's a political icon in this country. In other countries, we expect past leaders to collaborate with current leaders to push to move the country.
All right, so on
that note,
yes,
I would say that all media outlets, the general public, let us deviate from restoring back old wounds. Let us focus on how we can build the nation. Former President Nkrumah is one of the key pillars to ensure that this nation.
Okay. So on that note, Honorable Bernard from my side, of course, in as much as you are appealing to members of the public, like you in your words, to turn down the rhetoric, but there is this saying that how effective can you talk about the future without retrospecting the past? On November 26, 2023, when the failed or attempted coup was meted on Sierra Leone, the government issued a statement that it will stop at nothing in prosecuting those that are responsible, or wherever the evidence leads, that's where they are going to prosecute. And we all saw what happened, that the former president was called for what was charges were brought up against him. But in the interest of Sierra Leoneans, because there are other factions of society that are also playing of the fact that one of people who lost their lives, one of, serving officials lost their life in the process. Was this particular decision going to restore, justice to them?
No, you see, prosecution charges doesn't mean by any way that the person is guilty. This is what we should underscore. You see, let us don't assume that you saw people posting pictures of Koita and President Nkrumah, these other Osuriba.
And conversations.
No. Don't mention conversation not on the basis of the coup. You understand?
I think I want to interject.
No, but
I want to interject.
It's good. Let's not to interject.
I want to interject. Yeah. I think this is very sensitive.
Very sensitive.
I don't want us to travel that road.
Exactly.
I think what we will do at this moment is really to talk about the outcome of the non-prosecution from the Attorney General. Because we're going back to evidences, so we still just digging the wounds. I think the question about for those who lost their lives, whose families are still struggling, I think the government put in place a very good strategy.
People are being prosecuted.
They are giving support by government, right? And that support by any means will have to continue, right? And we are saying let's bygone the bygone. We are not going to.
It's still in that aspect of let bygone be bygone. We saw. Let us don't. Bear blind eyes to the realities. In as much as yes, as a nation, we are moving past this. We saw situation. People who were just named, who received phone calls from people. They were handed out sentences that were mind blowing. We saw the trees in Sierra Leone, we also saw it in Sierra Leone. So people are now suggesting, is the former president above the law?
No. So please. Noli prosequi is before judgment. What you are talking is where judgment was already handed down.
Exactly.
Right? This we are not talking is where the matter has not been completed, and we have said let this continue.
In fact, during the prosecution, whatever, we have not had in any case about some kind of substantial evidence. And so no, listen. So let us accept the fact that the former president, is a gentleman. Let us accept that the former president cannot in any case involved in search. Whatever situation, when charges are brought before the law, it doesn't mean the person is guilty.
One thing that is interesting about this conversation is that, for a very long time, I haven't seen this kind of, bipartisan.
Because it's emanated from the president. This tells you how powerful is the president. Good. You understand?
Good.
When the president focuses on building national cohesion, you understand? And so when we meet in the studio, and even for you journalists, you see, we should not put our hands on the trigger constantly. Let us compare what happened a few years ago and what we are looking forward to.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that.
I accept what your comment that it's been a long time to see.
Do you know that Honorable Benefa is my brother?
I'm not seeing this bipartisan unity.
We've met in several media interviews. We've met in several media interviews. I and Babi, when we discuss about education, when we discuss so many things.
We'll come back to you. Although you're here for something else. As spokesperson for the APC in Parliament, there will be no way you come here and say issues on the floor and you're not asked questions. However, let us now talk about our health, things that we must do and things that we mustn't do to ensure that we are always healthy. The reason in every edition of this program, Good Morning, so you new health tips. And in today's health tips, we take a look at cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. CBT plus 1 focuses on examining your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors that may cause poor sleep or so you can get the rest you need. We cover how these strategies work and what you can do to help get a good night's rest. Let's have a look.
The gold standard treatment for insomnia is called cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, or CBTI. Our thoughts, emotions, and habits can be really affected by insomnia. The goal of CBTI is to identify what patterns of thoughts or behaviors are contributing to poor sleep. The first step is identifying which habits or thought patterns influence your sleep. Then there are several techniques that can help change those patterns to improve your sleep. With cognitive therapy techniques, you reframe the way you think about sleep. Let's say you dread going to bed because you feel like you won't have a successful night of rest. A therapist might guide you to understand why you feel that way, what's causing your anxiety, and how to find ways to change your outlook. You may also work on making your sleep environment more comfortable or modifying daily habits, like reducing your caffeine intake, anything that promotes better sleep hygiene. Stimulus control techniques and sleep restriction are also a part of CBTI. Stimulus control helps retrain your brain to associate your bed and bedroom with rest and relaxation. This involves making sure your bed is only used for sleep and sex. Avoid watching TV or other stimulating activities when you're lying down. If you can't fall asleep, you may get out of bed to do something relaxing or comforting while you wait for sleepiness to return to you. Sleep restriction also strengthens your physical feeling of sleepiness by limiting how much time you spend trying to sleep. That means avoiding naps and only lying down when you're feeling sleepy. Your therapist will also help you set a window for bedtime and wake times. Since stress can be a major cause of insomnia, a therapist may also help you learn relaxation techniques to ease your anxiety and calm your body down. CBTI works for people with mental health conditions that could be disrupting your ability to sleep, including depression, bipolar disorder, and PTSD. CBTI also helps people with insomnia and complex medical problems like chronic pain or cancer. Clinical psychologists are the most common type of healthcare provider that provides CBTI, but physicians, nurses, or social workers may also be trained in CBTI. CBTI doesn't work overnight. It may take up to 8 individual or group therapy sessions to get your brain and body back on track. But with guided assistance, every small change can help make significant improvements to your ability to sleep over time. For those who prefer a flexible option, digital CBTI programs, guided or self-directed, can also provide structured, evidence-based support and have been shown to be effective for many individuals struggling with insomnia.
We are back, and the program you are still watching is Good Morning Sierra Leone, live from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation Television, and also through our social media handles. Now, we've been talking to Bami Anthony from the Ministry of Information and Civic Education, and also Honorable Bedman Sangi from the APC, and he is the parliamentary spokesperson for the APC. Now, let us talk about mines and minerals in this country, Dennis, because
just before Honorable we see on a different behind to us. Let's round off this panel so we can usher in Honorable on the fresh mandate. So Bami, going forward, we are spotted of course on our morning coffee program. To really be calling on Sierra Leoneans to see this as a plus for our peace and national cohesion as a nation. Where does this take us from here?
Thank you. The President Julius Maada started this journey long since. He foresaw that we are going to reach this level one day. In Makeni, we held the presidential town hall. He openly called all leaders in Makeni to say, let's see ourselves as one people. He used his own household as an example, that his cook was a Timon from the north. The vice president is from the north. The wife is closely connected to the east and all other people. So he was just talking about how we should come together as a nation. This act of having the Attorney General have Noli Posike is a testament to the one people, one country we are moving towards. My voice will go to the party people.
Yes, you wanted
on both sides, the APC and the SLPP. I clearly understand that there are many people in the APC that may not want the former president to come, and there are many people in the SLPP that may not want the decision to have come out like this. But there comes the statesmanship of the President Julius Maada. You could imagine the pressure from his own party people. You could imagine the pressure from the opposition. You could imagine the pressure from other people. But because of the diplomatic pressures and all over the place. But he said what?
Man,
for the interest.
Now you come to this now.
I will come. No, let me land. Let me land. You could imagine that he said, I am going to choose peace for Sierra Leone. But this is not just the first time. There was a time that he was faced with similar dilemma to choose between his personal ego and the state interest in 1996, where he was 32 years old, head of state. He chose democracy over perpetuating himself into office. He conducted elections in this country. He went after Fode Sanko to talk about peace. This was the person who at 32 years old was going to say, I was going to give myself 2-3 years to ensure, because we were in war, to stabilize the state before conducting elections.
Right.
He chose peace over his personal ego. He went in for elections at 32. He came back later as a civilian and he went through the crucibles of democracy. First in his party, he lost symbol. He was not given the symbol. He went back. He came back, he was given symbol. He lost in 2012. He went back. He came again to try in 2018 and he won. That's the kind of person that
how are you going to manage how are you going to manage the arrival and possible return of former President Nkrumah?
If we manage you, the media will manage everything. So the media must understand that this is not about rhetorics. This is not about who wins, who loses. This is not about provocation and stuff. This is not about anything that has to demean other people. It's about for national unity.
But then quickly, before going into the mines and minerals and stuff, now, Honorable, the same question. How are you going to manage the arrival of former President Nkrumah?
Pre-programs and post-programs. However, we expect to see joint welcome from both political parties and stakeholders, and we expect to see subsequent dinners with the president and the former president.
All right, so maybe as we conclude on that particular issue, I mean, the same question I also puts to you. You can hear your thoughts on it. I mean, a lot of Syrians, they have lauded the whole outcome as a bipartisan approach to restoring our country's democracy. I mean, had a fair share of fertility. I mean, was this a plus for assassination? Because also the role, if you play, I mean, as members of parliament here, if you wanted to move a motion in parliament for the return for the former president, so there was a rumor around that. Is this a plus for democracy?
We should look in the mirror as Sierra Leoneans and understand where we are, where we want to go. So it's a plus, like I said, we want to see this time around a different dynamics between the former president and President Julius Maada Bio.
Thank you very much.
See the former statement and the current statement to see how we can push the country.
Thank you very much. On that note, to move quickly to another issue in the program for discussion this morning, the enactment of the Mines and Minerals Development Act 2022, Act number 6 of 2023, was widely welcomed as a progressive step towards ensuring that communities hosting mining operations directly benefit from the wealth extracted from their lands. However, 3 years after its implementation, serious questions must be asked about whether the Community Development Agreement or CDA framework is truly serving the interests of mining communities. Section 143, sub 4 of the Act mandates that every holder of a small-scale or large-scale mining license shall contribute not less than 1% of its annual gross revenue to a community development fund, established under a community development agreement. The law is very clear. This is not based on profits but on gross revenue generated from mining operations. Furthermore, the Mines and Minerals Development Regulations 2023 requires that these funds be deposited within 90 days after the end of the company's financial year. On paper, this provision appears to be a landmark achievement for mining communities. In reality, however, the implementation framework has become a major obstacle to development. One aspect that initially appeared to promote transparency was the involvement of mining companies in the management and authorization of the Community Development Fund, CDF. Unfortunately, this is where many communities believe that problem lies. While companies are expected to finance development through 1% contribution, they also maintain significant influence over the release and utilization of various funds intended for community development. Across mining districts, there are growing concerns that community development committees are unable to fully implement approved projects because mining companies delay approval and disbursement. This raises an important question. Are these companies using our own resources to frustrate our development? Well, to answer to this question and much more, we have the author of the above piece, who is the Deputy Parliamentary Spokesperson of the People's Congress, who we've had just now, Honorable Alfred Ben Mansai. Good morning again, and welcome, Honorable Alfred Mansai, to the program.
It's a pleasure to be here again on the set.
I almost called you Alfred. All right, of course. And on the same issue, what is the National Media Agency doing about this? We also have been joined in the studio by the Community Affairs and Social Development Fund person, MEH Kamara, from National Media Agency. Good morning, Mr. Kamara.
Good morning.
It's a pleasure having you in this panel.
Thank you very much.
For obvious reasons, we started with your Honorable Bernard from Ansari. We saw your thought-provoking article, and of course, no less a place than the well of Parliament yesterday, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament himself, Honorable Bernard Conte, made an assertion in that light when the government within the party agreement that was taken to Parliament for approval. It did cite in many instances that communities are really grappling with even the 1% community development agreement fund that is tailored to their communities, and which is a loss to the nation of Sierra Leone. Why is this the case?
Okay, thank you so much. This is an eye-opener article it's a trigger to ensure we bring in all players that are involved: Parliament, National Media Agency, Ministry of Mines, and key other players that are supposed to see that what was enacted.
Honorable, we'll have to come back to you. I still be, as you remember earlier on in the program, we did intimate you that we will be linking our outside broadcast at Bintumani International Conference Center, or the Freetown International Conference Center, as was said by Sheku. And we've been joined now by our team out there. We are having a live feed, and let's join them.